Hello, Anthem. I hope this Monday is treating you well. Just a couple of reminders to you. We announced a couple of weeks ago that the daily text were going to go away because of some issues with some cell phone carriers. They've worked all of that out, and so the daily text, if you're signed up for the daily text, you'll still be getting those every now and then. So know that along with some of the video blogs that we're doing. Just a reminder, we didn't mention this yesterday at church, but the book club, Scouting the Divine, I know that's probably backwards to you, by Margaret Feinberg. We're going to be discussing that tonight in our worship center at 6:30. I'll be leading that book discussion. So if you've read that, or if you just kind of want to come along and see what people have to say about the book that they read, please join us tonight at 6:30 in the worship center. We also have our first full week of community groups that are starting off with the Good Book campaign that we're doing. And we have a couple of new ones that have started at different times of the week. One of those meets tonight at 6:30 in the meeting room here at the church. And so if that's something you want to be a part of, please do. You don't have to have signed up for that. So don't think that will keep you from coming. Same thing from the book club. There's been no sign up for that. So I don't know if it's just going to be me or there's going to be several of us to have that discussion. So we'll hope to see you tonight. I hope yesterday was helpful from the sermon standpoint of taking those 5 significant chapters in the book of Genesis. And chapter 1, chapter 3, chapter 6, which deals with Noah, and chapter 12, the calling of Abraham, and then chapter 22, when Abraham was asked by God to sacrifice Isaac. Those significant conversations or chapters that happen in the book of Genesis. Last night in my community group, we had some really good discussion about some of those chapters. Some of the things that came up, that we discussed were, if God knew that Adam and Eve were going to eat from the tree, then why did he do that? Was he setting them up with failure? And that produced a lot of really good conversation. Another one that always comes up if you think about Genesis, first couple of 2 or 3 chapters of Genesis, where did they get their wives from? Like Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam, where did they get their wives from? And so there's a lot of different things that go in when you start reading it and looking at the different things. I think another couple of things that came up last night that it was just, being reminded that we're not the only ones. A lot of times we really feel like we're the only ones trying to do the right thing, that we're the only ones trying to live out of faith, and we're not. That's just never true. Now, you may be by yourself in a particular situation, and that's where you have to stand strong and know that even then you're not by yourself, because you know that the Spirit of Christ is with you. But there's always a group of faithful people, and so take courage in that and know that. And then another big one, I think, from yesterday was that we're not created for pain, sin, or death. And when you look at Genesis and you look at the beginning of the good book, you look at the beginning of what we say as our Bible, you have the story of the creation, in which God says was good, and the creation of man and woman, which God said was very good. And then you have the fall. And when that sin enters, as soon as they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, like I said yesterday, all hell broke loose, and all these things happened, and shortly after, immediately shame entered in, and then with shame comes pain, and so sin leads to shame and pain, and ultimately ends in death. And we simply aren't created for that, and we don't know how to handle it. We don't know what to deal with it. We don't know how to deal with it. We try to cope. And there's all kind of coping mechanisms out there that relate to how I deal with sin and pain and shame in my life. And none of those work. And so that's why we need Jesus. That's why his promise to us, the good news that he comes in and he forgives us, and he doesn't forgive us partially. He doesn't forgive us for just the things that we ask him to forgive us for. He forgives us completely and totally, sets us up with a brand new heart, destroys our sinful nature, gives us his resurrected life so that we can live in him. And if you don't understand all of that and you struggle with that, man, I hope you sign up for a Pure Heart Weekend this year. We just had 16 guys go through our Pure Heart Weekend this past weekend. Our February one, we're doing a ladies one. It's already sold out. We're going to have another one, another guys in March, another ladies in April. When you don't know what to do with the pain in your life, you don't know what to do with the shame in your life, you have a hard time understanding and feeling forgiven, Your Heart Weekend is something that you need to be a part of, and I hope that you will, and I hope that you'll get past whatever fear you have or whatever is getting in the way of that and be a part of that weekend. Read Genesis 1 today. Ask God to show you what it is that He would speak to you about Genesis 1. Maybe tomorrow read Genesis 3 and then 6, 12, and chapter 22 on Friday. We'll be able to do this each week as we go, because each week we're going to be looking at 5 significant chapters as we work our way from the Bible from front to back, not necessarily from beginning to end, but from front to back. And you'll have a chapter each day to be able to read and let God speak into your life. So I hope you follow through with the homework. I hope you have a blessed Monday, and we will see you soon.